Well, good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, the beginning of the week. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. I went to Minneapolis St. Paul Comic-Con on Saturday, and I uploaded the video yesterday. So you should watch that video yesterday. It was loads of fun if you haven't yet. But today is Monday, and you know what that means. On Matt's Rad Show, Monday mornings are for Matt's Monday Movie Madness. That's right, folks. Every Monday morning here on Matt's Monday Morning Movie Madness, I bring forth to you a video from the 80s. I'll probably venture into the 90s at some point, but right now we're sticking with the 80s, and we're sticking with movies that are a bit more out there. I've done 4 of these already, and I try to do videos that movies from the 80s that you go, I think I remember hearing about that, or yeah, I saw that one time a long time ago, and I think I'm gonna go watch it again now. Those are the types of movies we're talking about here. A little bit more out there, not necessarily B movies. Some of them might be a little B movie action-ish, but movies that are in left field, I like to say. Got my light here. So without further ado, I bring forth to you today's movie. Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh, that's bright. That relates to the movie for those of you who know this movie. Oops, focus. This movie I maybe only saw a couple times when I was growing up, but I remember really liking it. And then when I was older, I figured out what was that movie again? Where the kids were running around, they were getting chased by a bunch of lightning bolts down the street, and they made their whole school into like a 4th dimension, and it was just crazy. And I was like, oh, I found it. And it was called this movie right here. My Science Project. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen this movie, you gotta see this movie, My Science Project. It's definitely not one, it kind of got lost in the mix of like 80s kind of science project, time travel movies. This movie, My Science Project, actually came out in August of 1985, and I believe it came out the exact same week, maybe a week or two after Weird Science came out. And then of course 1985 was also the year of Back to the Future, another time traveling movie. This movie also has to do with time travel. This movie has to do with time travel. It has to do with aliens and muscle cars. The main character played by John Stockwell is kind of a gearhead. He loves cars, he loves to work on cars, and his character is named Michael Harlan. He just kind of goes by Harlan in the movie. He's a total gearhead. He loves cars, he loves classic cars, muscle cars. He drives a 1968 Pontiac GTO, I think. A nice big red one, good muscle car. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It kind of combines all of those things, which you would think, how could they go wrong? UFOs, muscle cars, and time travel? But this movie did not do well when it was released, and it did not get good reviews. So this movie, I enjoy it. I like it. It's fun. But you're not gonna see a lot of great acting in this movie, although it holds my attention every time I watch it. I really enjoy it. It does get a little cheesy in parts, but let's be honest, what 80s movie doesn't? Okay, so let me set this up for you. Starts in like 1957, like Dwight D. Eisenhower or something like that is president. He stumbles upon, they have a UFO inside like Area 51, and he's just like, get rid of it. Fast forward to like the 80s, and John Stockwell is out cruising around. He's trying to figure out what to do for his science project. He stumbles upon this old like junkyard, kind of graveyard. I think it's like an airplane graveyard kind of thing. And he finds this old bunker, and in this bunker is like one of those old like plasma balls, and it's this weird gizmo, he calls it. And so he takes it out, brings it home, cleans it up, and he's going to present it as his science project because he's a gearhead. He likes to work with and stuff, and presents this as his science project. He's working on it with his buddy, who is played by Fisher Stevens. His name is Vince in this movie. Fisher Stevens, you might remember him from some amazing 80s movies too. primarily the Short Circuit series. He was kind of the funny comedic guy in Short Circuit. So him and his buddy are working with this thing. They hook it up to some energy, and it starts to warp things in and out of time. So it's kind of like this little gizmo they have will go into the future and it'll grab stuff and bring it to where they're at. Or it'll go into the past and grab stuff and bring it to where they're at. And the more power it has, the more stuff it can bring into their area. And it could also suck you into its world and transport you somewhere else. So it's kind of this crazy thing. And they hook it up to the power in the school, and it goes haywire. It gets all this kind of energy, starts going berserk, starts transforming the school. He runs out to the power grid. He tries to destroy the power grid so that it can't get like ultimate power to, like, they're not sure what it'll do if it gets like ultimate power. So they're literally racing energy down the road in his GTO, which I think is kind of hilarious, just considering how fast electricity travels. It's ridiculous. But at the same time though, it's 80s, it's fun. Long story short, the Gizmo does get hooked up to a lot of power. They come back to their high school, and the whole high school is like transformed. And every hallway are the people from different time zones and eras, from the future, from the past, and they're kind of morphing in and out of their high school. They basically turn their high school into this crazy another world with people from all over the time. Yeah, basically they've turned their whole school into a space-time weird continuum kind of a thing, and they have to go into the school, I believe, to help to save Ellie, who's the girl in the movie, who's played by Danielle von Ziernick, I believe, so she plays the love interest, and so they're trying to get in there because they believe she's in danger, and they're trying to get back to the gizmo to unhook it so that, I don't know, more bad stuff won't happen. Also in this movie is Dennis Hopper, who plays this kind of crazy hippie, right? He was like this hippie guy. Now he's a teacher in the 80s, but he's remembering the hippie times. And he gets sucked into this gizmo. And he's like all about it because he's like a hippie, right? And so he gets sucked into the gizmo, and then he's gone for the most of the movie. And then, spoiler alert, he comes back at the end through the gizmo. And what's kind of cool about that is that, of course, Dennis Hopper was in the movie Easy Rider, right? And the outfit that he wore in Easy Rider, which was in the 60s, I believe, is the outfit that he wears when he comes back in this movie, My Science Project, because he spent some time in the 60s and going to Woodstock, I think his character went to, and he went and relived some old glory days in this movie. He comes back, and so he's this kind of crazy hippie teacher. But overall, you know, I give this movie like 3.45 stars out of 5. Just because there is something lacking. You do want it to be a bit more. But at the same time, it's still a really cool movie. They marketed this movie overseas as a movie called Time Busters because they thought it did the whole time traveling theme well with Back to the Future, I believe, and also Ghostbusters was big during this time. So they called it Time Busters to try to get people to, I don't know, they were just trying to play up that whole shtick. So yeah, it's a good movie, and I love John Stockwell too. John Stockwell is kind of one of those 80s actors that was around for a while, and then he started doing a lot more directing and stuff like that. So I believe he's still around directing. He directed quite a few decent movies. Crazy Beautiful with Kirsten Dunst. Crazy Beautiful with Kirsten Dunst. What else did he do? He did Blue Crush, which is another kind of like almost North Shore type of movie, but it was like girls doing it. Blue Crush, that was pretty good. And then he did Into the Blue as well, Paul Walker and Jessica Alba. So he's directed quite a few decent kind of, you know, more action type of movies. The other cool thing about John Stockwell, of course, is that he was Cougar in Top Gun.
We're on paper, Cougar. Let's do it.
Gun. Pull up, Cougar! Pull up, Cougar!
Power! Some more power! Power, damn it!
He was the guy at the beginning of Top Gun that was kind of, he lost it, you know, he just...
Holding on too tight. I've lost the edge.
he couldn't do it anymore, and so yeah, that was Cougar. So anyways, I suggest going to see. You can probably get this one pretty cheap online too. So let's do our movie voice, and let's read this for you guys. His high school teacher issues an ultimatum: turn in a science project or flunk. So Mike Harlan, John Stockwell, Top Gun, scavenges a military base's junk pile for a suitable gizmo. He finds one and unwittingly unleashes the awesome power and energy of the unknown. Twisted dimensions, time warps, and fantastic realm where the past, present, and future collide in a whirling vortex of startling adventure and superlative special effects. Superlative special effects. That's a good use of that word, superlative. I'm gonna use that word more often, superlative. What a great word. It is, my favorite part of this movie is when they go back into the high school and they're fighting like these weird mobster mutants from the future, and there's a T-Rex in the gymnasium, and they're meeting guys from Vietnam or getting warped into classrooms, and they grab their guns and they start shooting it up, and so like they're traveling through like a weird kind of crazy, almost like a haunted house kind of a thing at that point in the movie, where they're going through different time zones and warps, and it's all in their high school. So it's just kind of a fun movie in that way. So there you go, guys. That's today's movie. So if you get a chance, check out My Science Project, one of my guilty pleasure movies. I like it. I don't know why. I like it. Oh yeah, and this movie was directed by Jonathan R. Betul, who's kind of more known for The Last Starfighter and Theodore Rex, as well as, of course, this one, My Science Project, some of his bigger movies that he did. So anyways, that's all I got here for today, guys. So hope you have a good Monday. Don't worry, Tuesday is right around the corner, and then Wednesday, hump day, and then Thursday, and then Friday will be here. So hopefully I will see you maybe every day this week. I don't know, it just depends on how my schedule goes, but hopefully we'll see you tomorrow with another daily vlog. And that's all I got for today, guys. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching, and be sure and rewind this tape. Okay, bye.